I put on a headband because there is wind, the weather is not very nice. I hope that. So today, lots of things to see together, so there are many questions. I will see them after the questions, gathered them on Facebook. There were 42, so we will see them there, that overlap, and I already want you pass the right information on this, that I am synthesizing for this start of the school year, 2021. I also share my predictions of the back to school last year because, actually I was a year advanced last year but I'm going to go speak already, new G33 that I synthesize, clearly as a future roll-off, to help you visualize what's going to happen. Go now for this start of the school year, 2021, and after these three pieces of information are important. You know I do data analysis, as a futurist game made, also appeal to my intuition and, especially I have this particularity. I think many of us have it, but combined with data analysis it is not bad. I do synthesis, in fact, a chat like that, of focus that allows me to synthesize suddenly, to validate the prognosis. You see, we can call it predictions, but for me it's a prognosis is the best prognosis, reliable for the future. First big news, then I use the language of the birds, also use it if you like the tube. So these breaks, you know, the one from the south, who has access to you like me, Castet, tap, you see what have you, or you see, who is covered with those who lie, you see him really, he is the first to leave, so this is it, good news that will relieve us, even if it's not him who does everything. You see, it's a puppet, but clearly by October he will have cleared, so that's the first good news. It becomes more and more precise. I had already said before the summer was leaving, but here it really becomes clear. The big one, monitor, will follow, and the macaroon will finish in pieces on October 6th. I'm not here alone to say it. I tell you, I'm doing data synthesis, but it seems to me very clear is going to be really a point crucial in this shift in events. Second major info, which makes me very pleasure, so it comes from the United States. I have a girlfriend, it's been 30 years that we are girlfriend. She grew up in Ethiopia, is there, went to the United States, 30 years of friendship. So all this to tell you that I have confirmation with her, and then by relation to this bond of friendship that dip, then if it is not already done while I do this direct going. Tell us about the revelations in video. Quite important, obviously this video will be censored to everywhere, so what it takes, do it is necessary to record the video on our hard drives and art balancing in changing the title, and we're really going have this role of, so I don't mean the word like that because you know I say after widely his live, but we are going to have really run out of little soldiers, internet scouts to help the captain, so it's the second good one, new, and it's okay then, even if we are already, when we are a fan of the captain, we is already wide awake, but it will help a lot of them, not many. How to tell you already, visualize that we are much more many than you think, because often when you watch the media mainstream you feel like a minority, so that in fact for me it is clear, and I have the information we are in the majority world today to be wide awake. Third news, so this one, she is good, she is not good, it's like all the news, if you want, there is. It's not all white or all black, it's between the two, but clearly in the acceleration of the Machiavellian plan. I saw them, so I have one. A little bit I saw them, no. It was not a dream, it was very weird as a feeling. Third news is that at one point, given there will be a shock, so I take it will be several country at the same time. I think it is related to the components of the darts that magnetize, if you want. Unfortunately, I think that still has a good part placebo, but there are still people who have not had the placebo, and which therefore had its components magnetic, and in fact there is a wave. So you can already see their game with the waves, weather in relation to changes in the rainy climate, downpours to the snow in Brazil, where this kind of stuff, so obviously that it can take place in notes around the August 15th is obviously all that, in order to say, well, this is it, fault of those who did not play darts, and suddenly bim bam boom. Describe rogue laws for pushed block delay the start of the school year. If we did not accept this is it. For these three important news in introduction of this live while Everyone arrives as soon as you come. Tell me too for the sound. It's important because there I liked it like that with the hair and the wind. I did. On social networks compared to passes. Pass that signal. From the start I had said that it will not work because in fact, for me it's really a bluff and you see it enough to push darts and unfortunately, this bluff works since it happens to terrorize the population and when you look at the scenario but since the first it's me I called it do. Viral terrorism you see what is viral it's with the media. Unfortunately it is. Yeah the fear spread actually. Do you often know it at the level of our brain more than materialization of something is? The fear that it will materialize. Which has dramatic consequences. Very basically why is it not okay? Happening is happening because it is inapplicable already you see in our lives. Contemporary. The difficulty of finding oneself in a restaurant with a date that suits everything. The world to end up one more than 2 or 3 then or at the cinema or in a concert. So if in addition you have to calculate if the people you invite or them people you want to see where the people but who wanted to spend time they will be able to have access to the event or not. Clearly that but too many constraints. And life loves fluidity and life like spontaneity and lightness we see each other and therefore inevitably it will bring us home we in public places and that I said that's what is pretty awesome we can see also in the movements. Sorry there is a little problem connection so I said so mama. Celebration will also be occasions of fact and we can see what makes the more fun in this party and done. Finally in these groupings. It's being together that's what we has missed so much for 2 years and in those being together you noticed who is forbidden what they forbid the sale of alcohol and or consumption on the public highway and because everything just when you already put together with a little alcohol and this energy it's a good time. Well, it's okay. Very very far in that they have very scared so is happening this turn of pass it will not succeed because it's too complicated in its implementation. Place it creates too many constraints and excess tax. Do you constrain the constraint you see? Sometime when you got the cover fire. As for all that makes us custody at home and it is a given moment too much is too much and you see. So deliverance is near as I said it compared to my previous one. Live and in this deliverance what is it? What's going to happen so you got these movements you have these crowd movements. I told you it's like contractions are like convulsions. Until the deliverance I will not redo the previous live but it is really simple and it will be more and more stronger in convergence at the end of August therefore. That's clear you can have depending on what happening but motorbike surprises because normally people take a little vacation and it can be surprising in its movements actually turns enough spontaneously in street party and party in the house in fact in public places there is a movement like that of so it's a party of course there are joy but there is also this energy like that release of expression of release so there may be overflows and obviously so if you obviously want then I know not how to say the word in the language of birds the brusque or corte. There will be a lot of waddy strikes. Not wanting. Yeah by doing the Boy Scout rating. Restaurants decimate theaters if necessary and they will end up at 3 hockey clampins with their passes but it's not funny to be 3 in a room. Cinema or 3 in a restaurant or 3 in a theater. So really restaurateurs face the shortfall will manifest itself and will manifest strongly. I think from the bio you see and Then it will be crescendo September, October, and in prevention, and then after. Of course, in September, the teachers, all school staff also go. Have a big part to play in the contestation. The police, which is increasingly divided, more go to. Then in a certain passivity to start, and then way more and more. Affirmed by following join us, so that's good news. And so if you want, for the point, if you want, understand how it's going to be. Back to school a little before the start of the school year. But always at the last moment, you know. He likes announced at the last moment. Like that created a lot of stress, and you can't predict was in. Uncertainty was already weakened by not knowing, so they will play the last minute rope too. In a big announcement effect like that, it's done on the 2nd July. Very hypocritical to make a you fake passes at a kind of measures like that, always at hypocritical bluff to push to bond darts on kids beyond 12 years and measures. Absolutely impossible if you didn't accept. No, we have been warned, we have already seen the coming. Thing is not the first time that they do us the blow. They will of course leave a little leeway at discretion. Prefect's genes, you see, it's not me. He did it, and there won't be, clearly there won't be. This year of normal return there is. Have a big division at the level of faculty with really this symbolic this time of the strike. Even the general strike. With, I believe it, on a date. Back to school postponed, closing of some schools depending on the region, depending on the resistance of the prefectures, is really more and more going until October towards a convergence movements. In the meantime, we will have more and more revelations about the problems that the darts generate on the healthy but very complicated to prove. Since opposite we are dealing with hypocritical liars who cling to their lies to the end, you understand the atmosphere will be chaotic until this famous month, October, and in the meantime, I hope by October first of all. Sure, after October there will have been reshuffles, departures, multiplication of trials at the level of government. We are not the only ones in France. Are you really the one where he is going to be the most convergence of more expression of this release and 7 of its liberation values? But in other countries it will follow. In particular in Belgium, in particular in Quebec, and in other countries, in Italy. In England it will move a lot. So my recommendation for be very specific before moving on to questions, because there are many. It's to prepare our children. It's for what I do. This is now start August, so that we have time to disseminate widely to help me broadcast. I count on you in commentary in bird language, like I am not blocked in the broadcast, and I can use the main ones. Networks that are where there are the most people who need this type information, so our children who are embodied in this period. These are somewhere aware of the historical aspect of this period and suddenly are armed to face it, provided that we help them and that we support. Therefore it is absolutely necessary. Explain lies and manipulations in which we live. This will serve them anyway. All their life is important to know. Masks and manipulations and lies in is compared to what happens. Do not hesitate according to their age, of course, but then shared in choosing when mom without wanting them shocked, but share with them concrete information about a particular young person. Man. The current maxim serves us really two reference and glaring examples of utility in this period for explain that yes, these darts are dangerous, and proof there are pictures, there are real cases. So according to the age of the children, of course, one, and with the children's words about the little ones, I had already took this picture to talk about zombies. It's right good to explain the situation. Yeah, there. So I don't want to do too much. Long precisely to go to. Questions. What I want to tell you is that we want to get out of it now. See, it's a perverse system, and when we are facing his perversions is when there is this narcissistic rage. Had the most apparent is the most inconsistent and messier than. Took the exit is sixth and after you. Go see Curious Miss, there is a kind of great match, and teachers they disappear, they make a kind of radio silence like that for months. So I hope that in the government, it's okay. Start to disappear because everything. They simply have no more arguments there. Comes to the end of the lies, and the only way to save face is what? One the most, but it is to make a kind of disappearance flip-flop. Like this if you want to help the process. Then of course accompanied the movements. Crowded is important with a lot. Precaution of a conservation stand. Of hindsight to observe what is happening. But more and more it is important to resist being active, so too. There I said it in my private group. For example, we will do a tutorial for make stickers you see in at. Instead of being right there between a market, you can stick stickers on the macaroon. In crumbs behind language grids. Birds will put something more directly on the sticker, but here it is, already. It helps by being active in the language of birds by sharing this live too. Beyond the fact of markets, you have a real resistance action given that we are the most numerous, but it is great because it really allows us to speed up this process, which took, I believe it, a little late. This is what I want to tell you also, before to go to questions. Maybe it's already that I have a share private in which I share my tips already to be well in the present already for. Also, if you want to practice the basis of a balanced life, because you can't project yourself into the future, you can pay for a desirable future if already at daily, not kill well, and to be well on a daily basis, obviously, even if you have already worked on it. We also do help you. And we are not, you see, anyone and are at safe from the difficulties of life, and there is always a meaning, you see. Someone who hasn't played darts can be annoyed if he has a spouse who played, and that they will not be not distant enough is someone who has played darts can very well and make a superb springboard for evolution and personal spiritual development. Material so really welcome. In this private sharing I will put you the link in comments as soon as I end this live and I go to questions, and then you see how it is. Not enabled for questions. No, I think it's good. So, I go to questions because there are has a lot so the questions. Like I told you, every time when I announce the live, they announce it on Facebook, and I take the questions that are under the live announcement. Here we arrive at the beginning, so in the first questions, that is, how is it going to pass? You see what will happen to our children? And that worries a lot of people. Obviously me, that worried me also in first, so there is, as I have it for you, said precautions to take. First of the precautions, therefore, explain the situation, explain the seriousness of the situation if you don't like it. Mount gravity I use a lot, history joking with them you sell. 10 years old beat up, go talk to your little ones. Children when you are paper that the will tell that, this that you see me my elder since the March is not a pass it followed. Homeschool, so I think we is moving towards ST, I think it is necessary. Already prepare for it, so I look by. In relation to his passions, you see he has 14 years ago I watched what he liked to do. I watch that we spend some time and make it what I found online for. Help him develop his passion while I push it all the way I encourage them to do so. He created his YouTube channel. And Pretty learns how little by little developed and possibly an activity, semi-professional for possibly take a trip around the world in 4, 5, 6 years now, starting at the occasion of this free time. And you know what we learn at school grows so. Motto, you saw it, I saw it, it is not it, which is essential in life to be balanced and earn money. So take advantage of this specific time to pursue your passions is, on the contrary, brilliant. So encourages teenagers in this sense. And for the little ones, what we did, I have truly networked for. Invite each other at home. 2 trains, and even if it's an hour. In the morning 1 hour, in the afternoon suddenly. You even see in July itself. During the holidays, my little one working on games, on little 1 hour exercises. Mutual aid between parents, beautiful, and doing work an hour, you see we do them. Play 3 hours, we make them work an hour, and after his time free there is an organization parallel like that to find time to. I think after the holidays of All Saints' Day we can find the basics a little more normal, and in the meantime we don't imagine a classic start to the school year. So there are precautions to take. Last of the precautions I took. In the child's school they are already fully informed about. Darts they refused, we learned. Lawyers we resist, because for us, where I am, it is already compulsory. Not for the little ones but for the staff, and therefore staff to refuse. Have made an action and an association. And we file a complaint. But at the level of the big ones, so I sent a letter to school for say that in case of change. Also we wanted to force him to these, that I absolutely wanted to be informed, and as I pay for school I have had the school sign a request for reimbursement of school fees already paid in this case. So I got this school paper, and then I have good put in plan B with my son in focus. Case there is a little intervention weird in the infirmary where I don't know what his mission is, obviously what that it costs for the blow of escape to go in a store that I know who is right next to the school and make me call so that I get it back immediately. So here I am, I do often that I think it's going well past, but for the 1% risk it. You always have to have a worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is like in the airplane pilots, that you always prepare a plan B and plan that's just in case things are like this. Say we're prepared. Then so that was a question of Reberry K to Valerie for our requests. What are the long-term consequences? Term in relation to wearing the bayonet all over the gag is not good, so I have really told my oldest to wear it when it was necessary, and then I wear it on the upright. You see, that to me waste my time. I am told to wind it up. I do, yes, and then I do not. I'm not going back up. Listen, it's the ones last month's. Obviously it's not good compared to everything that can be a little infection. Dad laic, all you can have staphylococcus in the nose, and it's grounds, and it's not good, especially for growth and oxygenation. So really, we are in a world, I tell you, nothing is not perfect. We cannot everything boycott, but it's a good phase on. Putting your tone is a good way to play the thing. Then to Lawrence, who tells us, how will it be for Belgium? So Laurent, what I told you, that will do. Boom. At some point also in Belgium, a little out of step with France, therefore Belgium also with this particularity of being divided into save accentuated divisions in Belgium. And it is necessary to avoid the movements of crowd, is because in Belgium there are links, in France are everywhere, but what we call all and operations with a standard sphinx, Unfortunately, there are cells like that, then a home, of the Machiavellian state that are in Belgium, which you can have, yeah, finally. Avoid places that are too public or too in a crowd. You are also in a crowd. You can activate a bubble of protection. You can ask T guide from you when you are in a crowd anyway, either. Hypervigilant in relation to all intuitions you can receive. What will happen to those who played darts, but that's what I told you, there are some are going to get by, of course there are some, I hope a good part, who have received a placebo that we will know later, and yanan of which it is part, while it would be in a starting plan. You know me, I want them. There are people among people that I know who played darts, and that was already before to have darts in a city diagram a bit. How dead is it to say a circle? And already he didn't have a lot of projects already. It was a little on standby to a little in the cellars, which was not a lot in motion, so obviously it speeds up the process towards their departure, and those who on the contrary can use it as a springboard, healing and changes in their life of many things. I can you see I speak, I cannot make life too long. I don't have enough to have a lot of energy to do it like this. So we arrive on time. I drink a little, but clearly I think that even if we played darts we have a chance to get by, but clearly it's okay to be a bit more sturdy course. What into us who have not played darts to help to accompany, to look for the right information, since apparently not having played darts we're a little ahead of others in relation to our research information, and we are in. If we woke up before others are to help others. So we brew all together have this mission by coming together according to our level of consciousness, and what is not pejorative on others it is. It's like in a family, you see it. Some are needed to help others. And then after that it can change. Then there is Camellia, which tells me my question. Galate question, will there really be an improvement? Yes, Camellia, that's for sure. I'm not future hall for nothing, so for me, if you want, who always am. Slowness events but steep to a rain. It is to bring water and dew. To be born of flowers when you have winter, and it is to leave the ground and the trees. Will be asked to relax. I think that there will be no more. He nods. Only and after announced a future spring, so therefore Raymond, be reassured it will improve for me if you want a clear improvement afterwards. October already, I think in September in the fact of having to be numerous and then resistant converge and organize already. In August we will have the dip also, which will confirm us that things also move in depth. So yes, but if you want every time, it's like life, every time we go to believe that this is it is to win and hen. In fact, there is a step further after, is one more step later, because once that we got rid of the mock made it big monitor lizard and cassette balls in gold, but we do not have a fair transparency. You see, we are going to be in a standby to a little chaotic and painful time of get organized. Yes, I think there is a providential man who will be able to you help without being a savior, but who will have the ability to heal many karma by curing hers too. I have spoken in other videos. I want not make too long so the darts go badly. You see, I think the time spoil for 2 months. I don't know if you see it in the lay, so the darts are going to be obligatory for our little ones. I hope that the little ones know, but you know how they act as a good manipulative pervert. And Marcy sick, it's going to be you go out having forgotten that hypocritical word before everyone else denounced hypocrisy, but the other name of manipulation is hypocrisy, and if there will be a lot, well, there is already some, but compared to this back to school, a lot of hypocrisy and perversion. It goes also pushed to the guilt of parents, so in one becoming aware, and if only pronouncing the word hypocrisy, the word unnecessary guilt are the end word. You see, by unmasking the manipulative process and perverse process already, that will help. So compulsory by law with an absolute military application, no, but by the mind and by the mass mind manipulation and media manipulation and collaboration. Collaborators, you see, passive in some poorly awake staff, and passive and interested only in his salary at the end of the month. Yes, there it is. But nothing is ever obligatory so much that you are alive if you say no to me I love it it's no is one sentence point bar so in addition to the storm there are works I move quickly on the question so I am a caregiver and an epat how refuse the dart so what I say always in these cases saves time because all this is provisional like obligation save time you have something gynecologist you have a tooth to treat dentist made an appointment we must redeem in wisdom and this is not recommended at this time you do it next month finally you see you save time and then there is more in addition fortunately of collective standard male associations of lawyers that you can send in all case do not and at worst you put yourself simply on sick leave for avoid unpaid leave by harassment you see harassment leave disease here and diffuse a treatment share this information because it can help a lot of people. With solution already witnessed here you see so Jack who says hello to me pancake so is this going to end then when I am told that I am years old and I would like clearly see the lottery numbers or stock market price but that's not mine gives me a lot of things like information about the future but not that so clearly it is for me it is already finished they have already lost I'm not the only one to say it now it's going to be materialized step by step already with a famous video we expect from the dip already with Bell from the moment there is unfortunately mass departures even if they will accuse the arrow Nemesto be at the origin of that while everyone knows it's because of darts already it will also wake up a lot of people because it's dramatic when you see a lot of death all at once and then after I tell you the start in cascade and dominoes in different governments and the convergence of movements suddenly that will it win back to repeat even the strengths administrative the public body to say things like that which little by little we will be delivered by Christmas I said that last year I got wrong names so I don't think so fine this year saw the madness and the ambient chaos but after to be completely on a new civilization with extremely sound governance bases and all the same you have to say to yourself the horizon 2024 you see because between time there is a lot of reorganization to manage so what to do when you don't want to do sting his children will there be sanctions for children well no if you want school already being a place of passive indoctrination and otherwise it's a chance extraordinary of the private schools on 2-3 months by the month of November is to identify their patients and let them live their patients he is making me cakes made on work for free to help a children's baker the flowers can be seen at a florist to help him clean the flowers if a child is passionate about such video games on the internet make him make his channel YouTube filming his screen on this game video let's take advantage of the negative aspects. Springboard for positive aspects in explaining the situation our children here I think the future I have made a video about the future of school the future is really training tailor-made and the school will redo anyway in the future 3 levels finally I don't want to do too much long I was starting but can so for our high school children yeah so obviously they got difficult years but it's history and our children when I answering those lock Thursday to ho really listen resilience is great if these children choose to incarnate like us in this historical period, and if they chose us as a parent, is that we have the weapons to restore, the balanced especially tears of, love and love curative also. We have to be extremely clear on, the extent of the situation with our children we have to discuss it we have to show them the right ones, information and explain to them the mass manipulation and lies, in progress and especially explain to them how to defend against it and then there is something I want to add I'm not going to be able to do too long because, I myself, feel tired and besides I will, take a little post finally I tell you that, at the end of the lay but really with our children you see I shared it in the private group a video of the macaron where it's a parody of his TikTok they have, Wallard Bayfall we have to share that, humor is ridiculed to a pervert, narcissist a manipulator that's the best weapon because the guy there, works only legally and if we are more and more why not, ask your child to do a parody of doing a sketch of doing GIF, of, actively participate in this resistance, in terms of humor so it's very important when you see me I go for, be able to continue broadcasting I will, with his consent use the account, Facebook of my eldest son to be able, widely disseminate and get my message across, to the greatest number and it is all, made aware of his participation in my action of resistance therefore really the to participate in it is to heal them and, on the contrary find a huge profit, educator and lifelong trainer, adult in this situation here, listen I can't do more here, really I love to give but I need, also time for me I will do, a little break in the live on this, August trough, intervene on the channel I will announce it, on Facebook do I want you, to say is that in relation to all that it is going to happen because I really have them, pictures do you see of those people who are leaving suddenly there will be some, a lot I really have the images of these, crowd movements of some overflows I really have the images also of the concern of many, people when there again you see there, the macaroon, but when there is more, nobody can be enough. Destabilizing, so suddenly I'm going. Prepare group coaching for the times to advance in a group, but also to be able to ask questions, individual by affinity groups on this challenge. You see, we can do a group on the future of a transition, professional because there are many new jobs being created, or that, maybe, groups on real evolution, personal therefore suggests voice in, group coaching comments on, problems in futurology that you want to share. Is it on the citizenship on governance action citizen? Is it on the fact to be financially independent in, seeing in advance the professions of the future? Is it to be well surrounded because, that we all saw that well at the level of, our loving family snacks, professional it has an impact in with, who in return is it therefore a, relationship coaching here is where everything, at the same time we can do it on 3 month together, choosing a month, professional and less relation 1, civic action month, and the spiritual is, the same for me in the future. Here I am going to stop this. Live there. I count on your likes, they share your comments, share widely, and if you want to access my private share already to find out nothing challenging that is completely free that lasts 5 days, just leave us your email address and us hundreds free email address each. Also week on your email box will be weather forecast for the week of events of what will happen, to how to approach things positively and surf like that on the wave of this historical chaos of SC the swell like that, but to read done positively to create our future together. Desirable very quickly a sharing one. I count on you. Ciao.